house of the raging bull is roaring into the unknown once more. This time with its most radical design ever.
We know very well that the automotive industry will change completely.
For the past quarter century, this hallowed mark has been known for supremely exotic, high-performance Italian sports cars.
Yeah, I mean, Lamborghini is about making a splash. It's about making a statement.
These days, however, making a sexy splash isn't enough.
We are exploring a new field, the super SUV.
It's a massive exploration and the dawn of an entirely new category, the super SUV.
If we don't take the right decision, then it will be extremely easy to destroy the incredible thing that has been done so far.
A brave decision that's called the Urus. The world's fastest SUV and the boldest step yet, one of the most storied super sports car manufacturers in the world. Rockets from 0 to 100 kilometers in just under 3.6 seconds. Has a top speed of 305 kph. It is perhaps the most important machine ever built by Lamborghini.
The definition of SUV just keeps expanding. The Urus is a way of pushing the limits of performance in an SUV.
Pushing the limits is something that the marque has been doing for a very long time. Welcome to Sant'Agata Bolognese, a small, rural, northern Italian town that few outsiders would visit, except for one very special motor-romantic reason. This is the ancestral home of Automobili Lamborghini.
Lamborghini is based in Sant'Agata, a small place. Who would know about it? But when you say Lamborghini, everybody knows.
The town might be small, but the fantasies created here are extraordinary.
It's not only a factory, but it's something which is producing dreams.
Dreams that are extremely rare. The brand has been in business for just over half a century, but it's built less than 47,000 cars in total.
Sports cars are fantastic and we love them to death and we don't ever want to see them go away. But what really sells are SUVs.
In 2012 at the Beijing Auto Show, the company shocks fans when it introduces the Urus concept.
It announced to the world that Lamborghini was going to build an SUV.
SUV or super SUV is polarizing. You may have purists that say, oh, this is not the right car. The majority, they say, oh, that's really a good idea, let's go for it.
It's not a secret. SUVs are not everybody's darling, this is for sure. When you work for a sports car manufacturer, to create such a car is one of the biggest challenges that you can have.
Once the disbelief dissipates, reality sets in. Lamborghini has set its sights on building the world's first super SUV.
If you distill Lamborghini down, it's like, what can we do that's so outrageous that no one would expect it? Well, let's build an SUV with a Lamborghini badge on it.
My favorite sentence is the one from Ferruccio Lamborghini. I created this car just for me. It was always a dream. It must remain a dream. So this is for us, the driver, creating a new car.
Ferruccio is Ferruccio Lamborghini, a self-made man who starts an agricultural tractor business in 1948.
Lamborghini was born in Italy. It was Ferruccio's idea.
A decade later, Ferruccio is a success. However, financial freedom isn't enough. So he decides to enter a more competitive industry, the automotive industry.
The company was born in 1963 from a vision of a man.
Ferruccio came from building tractors. He wanted to take on Ferrari. That was his big goal, and that's what he did.
Ferruccio Lamborghini has been one of the bravest men in the industry because he's never been afraid to push the boundaries, embrace new trends, and make a revolution.
Just as Ferruccio pushed the boundaries in the past, the Urus challenges the very core of the company.
It's about a lot of questions, a lot of new challenge for us. The decision was to really do the things in a different way, starting from the design of the factory.
Since 1963, the marque has always called the Sant'Agata Bolognese factory home. However, to bring the Urus to market, the brand must first build a new facility.
There was only agricultural field here, and we start from zero the design of this assembly line.
3 years after introducing the Urus concept, the marque breaks ground on the new assembly hall. Constructing it will require 5,600 tons of steel. That's equal to the weight of 32 747s. And another 88,000 square meters of asphalt, which is the equivalent to 15 football pitches.
With the new model, the Super SUV, we have doubled the size of the company from 80,000 square meter to 160 square meter in just 1 year.
It takes 360,000 workers from 600 companies just 12 months to transform the company forever.
We doubled the factory with the whole facility for the Urus, which is include a new office building, a new warehouse, a new finishing area, the new assembly area, and a new paint shop.
It's a level of expansion that Ferruccio could never have imagined.
This is really a breakthrough for Lamborghini, which is happening once in a lifetime.
The massive development might be a once-in-a-lifetime event, but the impact will last for years.
This huge investment in the factory has a big impact also on the territory. Because all the people we are hiring are living here, so all the money we spend on this factory then stay in the territory. And this is really a big opportunity for the city of Sant'Agata, but for all Emilia-Romagna region, really to have a big boost in their economy.
For me, it was a great thing that they invested in Lamborghini, because these products are something that doesn't exist in the world.
We have to preserve, let me say, the tradition of working on Lamborghini, so we are doing a mixed team.
Adesso ci sono dei giovani che sono molto preparati.
There are young people here who are very well prepared, theoretically. They may lack a bit of experience. I need to teach them, but I have enough humility to also learn from them.
You have the old guys, the new Ferruccio Lamborghini, and the young guy which knows only, let's say, the car of today. One is giving the energy and the passion to the other, and the other is giving the experience.
The Urus tests the passion and experience because the build is entirely different than any previous Lambo.
This is the first time we are assembling a brand new type of car. For instance, 4 seats, 4 doors. We never deal with this. This front engine, V8. We always had back engine. We are learning by doing, basically.
Over the last 30 years, the brand exclusively builds 2-door, 2-seat, rear-engine sports cars. Now, they must relearn how to assemble a machine, because the Urus is a 4-door, 4-seat, front-engine vehicle.
We would like to be at the state-of-the-art of manufacturing. So it means that we are using advanced technology. We are using the maximum competence and knowledge of the company.
The manufacturing knowledge is modern, and the machine is absolutely cutting edge. Yet amazingly, the Urus isn't the brand's first SUV. The Lamborghini Urus boasts a 650 horsepower engine, the world's largest disc brakes, and a staggering €171,000 base price with 4 options. Heady territory for any type of machine, let alone an SUV.
There's a sense of occasion in a Lamborghini from when you fired it up and the way the starter motor whirs. I mean, they're just wild looking, and the amount of attention you get is just, it's insane.
All Lambos grab attention. However, there's one machine that stands above the rest. And it's not a sports car.
A lot of people have forgotten, but there was a Lamborghini SUV in the 80s. It was called the LM002, and it had a Countach engine under the hood.
Debuting in 1986, the LM002 is the 4x4 that no one sees coming.
The Rambo Lambo. It was such a surprise. Even these days, it still makes you kind of smile. What?
It had a pickup truck bed instead of a hatch. I mean, it was a weird, weird thing.
The LM002 is born thanks to a United States military request.
There was a contract out for a new military SUV, and Lamborghini was going to give it a shot, so they built an SUV.
The result is the Cheetah, a seldom remembered machine that pairs all-wheel drive with an American-built 180 horsepower engine.
The Cheetah. That was a military project in the late 70s. It was really like a rugged kind of thing.
Only 2 prototypes are built.
They didn't really sell them to any militaries, but it was kind of this cult favorite.
When the US military passes on the project, Lamborghini decides to refocus the machine on the civilian market to recoup their investment.
Later on, Lamborghini developed this car into the LM. When you look back into the 80s, there was nothing existing like that.
The LM002 features a 5.2-litre, 440 horsepower V12 that's ripped straight out of the brand's famed Countach super sports car.
Lamborghini did the totally most unexpected thing and made this car that was, honestly, one of my favorite cars to drive ever. Because this thing was built like a tank, but I'm sure couldn't make it across a parking lot without breaking down. It had a Countach V12 in it, made all of the right noises, and then brakes this big. And it weighed about 5 billion pounds. So if you actually got the thing up to top speed, you might be able to stop, but that would only happen when you hit the tree. It's honestly one of the coolest cars ever made.
Over the 6-year production run, just 300 machines are built.
The LM002 is one of the rarest Lamborghinis ever made. And I don't know if there just wasn't enough demand or if they couldn't produce enough. Saudi princes were like, this is the coolest thing ever, because it kind of was. But it was not a product plan.
While the machine isn't a financial success, it is, in many ways, the precursor to today's luxury SUV movement.
Maybe it was too early to be accepted as the first luxury SUV.
Lamborghini coming out with a modern SUV sort of makes sense. They have some heritage in the SUV game.
The LM002 and the Urus are vastly different machines. Yet what they share is a specific form of Italian craftsmanship. Something best seen inside of Lambo's new, state-of-the-art factory.
I think made in Italy is a very, very important value. This is not a robotic line. It is a line where the new technology, the innovation is at the service of the men or the women. But you always see that the hands of our people are on the cars. We believe that is something that we need to export as a positive value of our country.
The combination of hand craftsmanship and high-tech tools is cutting edge, and perhaps offers a glimpse into the future of all automotive mass production.
We are really on the heart of the new expansion. We are at the beginning of the assembly line of the Urus.
The goal of the new factory is to double Lambo's volume to nearly 7,000 vehicles a year.
Lamborghini doesn't sell a lot of cars. If they double or triple their number with the SUV, it's still not a very big car company.
Even though the ambition is grand, the factory is surprisingly compact.
Two separate lines, the first part, which is this one, and then the second part on the other side of the building.
At first glance, the line might look ordinary, but when a bare body arrives, it's clear that this is a very different kind of assembly process.
We don't have a traditional trolley. We have a AGV, automatic guided trolley, so all the line is composed by this, which are moving in an automatic way and which are carried the body wide through the line.
The AGV trolley is the next step in a mass production saga that starts in 1913, when Henry Ford introduces the moving assembly line. It's an inspiration that reduces the time it takes to build a car and, more importantly, alters how we assemble our everyday products. Fast forward 100 years, and the same basic concept is still being used. Until now. Lamborghini's goal is to not only enter the SUV segment, but to reinvent how vehicles are manufactured.
The use of the AGV is giving us a huge opportunity in terms of flexibility. We can extend the line, reduce the line in a really easy way without doing any big construction facilities.
Currently, the line features 23 stations, but thanks to the AGV's flexibility and the lack of a permanent conveyor system built into the floor, they can adapt it as needed in the future.
This kind of AGV has the possibility to move 360 degrees. The AGV are hardware. They are programmed with the software. We can decide where the AGV has to go.
An AGV-based line also allows the team to reimagine the very concept of an assembly line.
We can overcome a straight line with point A, point B, point C, which are always on the same position. With the AGV, you could have stations which are parallel. This will be the future of the assembly, a modularity.
Advancing the auto industry is heady. Advancing the build is quite a bit easier to see.
This is station 1, where the car first comes in. As you can see, the car comes in as a shell.
A new body arrives every 34 minutes.
We disassemble the door in order to allow the pre-assembly of the door in another place. Then we start the assembly on the line, starting from the ECUs and the main harness. This is the core of the car in terms of electrician functionality.
It's a distinctive machine built by a very devoted workforce.
It is a wonderful job. You wake up in the morning proud to come work here, to come work with these splendid vehicles. It is great to make dreams come true. Each car is a story unto itself. It is a great car.
Hidden electrical parts are the first of thousands of components that have to be coordinated.
I am involved in materials logistics for the production lines. All of the provision of materials for the production lines. So I am like a red blood cell in the heart. I bring the parts for these beautiful cars.
Some of those parts are sent to the dashboard sub-assembly line.
I like to be precise and to give the best of myself in my work. So the best part is when I see the dashboard is organized and assembled and gets mounted in the car. Then I say to myself, I've done my job well.
Centralizing the sub-assembly area allows the team to wrap the main line around them. This ensures finished parts are never more than a few meters away from the stations where they're installed, making the factory both lean and fast.
So, one worker, one station, one trolley. The operator has to receive all the material that are necessary for that specific car in a specific timing.
Being both lean and fast are key ingredients of the assembly line and of the Urus itself, thanks to the stroke of a pencil and more than 1 million kilometers. Lamborghini has just put the finishing touches on a brand new, state-of-the-art factory in Sant'Agata Bolognese, the very same Italian village where the company has produced every car it's ever made since the introduction of the 350 GT in 1964.
Lamborghini, for a long time, has been a fantasy brand. It's not something you see every day, it's uncommon.
Even though the brand is synonymous with dream machines, the greatest aspirations actually start just a few blocks down the road.
Lavorare per Lamborghini per me è stato un sogno.
Working for Lamborghini was a dream of mine. I was born in this area, so since I was small, I have been seeing these cars speed by on the roads here, and I always imagined coming to this company. So, when I finally had an opportunity, I came to work here, and I am so happy to work here.
The homegrown pride isn't just a local affair, but also a family one.
No Lamborghini ha dato da lavorare a mio padre.
Lamborghini employed my father, my uncle. I work here, and my brother does too. So, a lot of us are for Lamborghini.
These days, the machines are an important part of the Italian economy and a cornerstone of the nation's pride.
Fare questa macchina qui in Italia è una grandissima soddisfazione.
Making these cars here in Italy is very satisfying. Tremendous. It makes us proud to be Italian.
Today, there's a lot of passion. Yet the success hasn't always been a smooth ride.
30 anni fa non era.
3 years ago, it was not a factory. It was a small artisan business where we made cars entirely by hand.
One of those handcrafted machines is the Miura, which debuts in 1966 to rave reviews. The shape is beautiful, yet the impact is even greater. Many consider the machine to be the world's very first true supercar.
In the 60s, the Miura was the dream of that generation.
Standing just 105 centimeters tall, the Miura features a 350 horsepower V12 that propels it to a remarkable 280 kilometers per hour top speed. Perhaps more importantly, the combination of a sexy, low and wide shape with a highly powerful engine creates the archetype for the modern hypercar.
Piace tuttora la Miura.
I especially love the Miura. For me, it is the most beautiful car ever made. So seeing them here in the factory or in the museum gives me immense joy.
8 years after the introduction of the Miura, the brand does it again and launches the Countach.
This is something absolutely fantastic. I'm standing here in front of a third-scale model of the Lamborghini Countach. I think all the car lovers know what is a Countach, of course. Check out the strong angle of the side windows. When you see a Lamborghini coming, there's this typical architecture because it's so recognizable from far away. This is a car that it looks like a spaceship still today.
The machine will go on to have a remarkable 17-year production run and makes the brand a household name.
They're building the Countach, where they make these crazy wedgy supercars that look like nothing else on the planet and are ridiculously fast.
What I really like is when you can sketch a car really with a few lines in a few seconds. And the Countach, you can sketch the car in 10 seconds. The Countach is absolutely simple essential Lamborghini. We can give the sketch a little bit of color. I have here something, I would call it old school. We have some chalk here. I can take away a little bit of powder. The Countach is quite famous in yellow. Take some pads here, and then in less than 1 minute you have a sketch where you can express some lines and some ideas.
The Countach is the last machine that company founder Ferruccio Lamborghini ever works on. Yet the angular shape continues to define and influence the brand today.
In the 80s, beside of the posters of some music stars, I had also a Countach on my bedroom wall. But it is also driving me because we are designers and we are looking into the future. And my driver is to understand what is the Lamborghini for the next generation.
For decades, the company gains fame for its exotic, high-performance cars. But sadly, it rarely sells a lot of machines.
By all accounts, Lamborghini shouldn't have survived as long as it has. They've almost went out of business multiple times.
If I look back at our history and we are looking today, we are incredibly lucky because we are in a very solid position. The brand is very, very strong.
The marque's renaissance can be traced to just 4 cars. At the dawn of the 21st century, the brand introduces the Murcielago and the Gallardo super sports cars. Then, roughly a decade later, follows up with both the Aventador and the Huracan replacements. The machines bridge the gap between the handcrafted heritage of the past and a modern push towards a solvent company.
Sant'Agata has improved so much. There is work for everyone, and we have a solid company, thank heavens.
The growth is remarkable. Yet, in order for it to continue, the marque must keep evolving.
For me, the essence of everything is the pencil sketch, because this is where the dream is starting.
Mitja Borkert is the head of the marque's Centro Stile design studio and the man at the forefront of the Lamborghini design language.
When you look at the height, you will not find another SUV that is so low. We have a quite long wheelbase. This is good for the roominess in the interior. But there's also a width more than 2 meters. So this is generating a proportion that is absolutely outstanding.
Really angular, borrows a lot from the Lamborghini supercars, and that's what it needs to be. It needs to be instantly recognizable as a Lamborghini, otherwise, what's the point?
Creating the Lambo of SUVs starts with a pencil, but also requires the push of a pedal.
When we started to talk about real development, the first big question mark was in what way is it possible to merge the DNA of a super sport car in a super SUV.
Maurizio Reggiani leads the team that must figure out how to transform an SUV into a raging bull.
My job is one of the best jobs that you can have in the world. If you like about car or about engineering, you have opportunity really to think something, to experience and to tune in a way that for the other must be a masterpiece of engineering.
The challenge couldn't be clearer. Historically, SUVs have been tall, bulky machines built to do utilitarian tasks. But the Urus must embody the brand's high-performance soul.
What we did was first to define the normal parameter of one of our super sport cars. After we merge the top-end SUV existing in the market, these 2 diagrams give us our dream. This was the target that we gave to our engineering to fulfill and to satisfy all these requirements in a car that must be Lamborghini.
The goal is to lower the machine as much as possible, whilst also moving the vehicle's mass close to the center. It's a traditional sports car mentality applied to an entirely different kind of machine.
We achieved more of 1,400,000 kilometers.
Testing in the desert and on the dirt presents a brand new challenge, because in the modern era, Lamborghini has only built on-road supercars.
We don't have this kind of experience because our car is not born for the dune surfing. The first time that we were in Middle East to surf dune of 400 meters was something that you cannot believe that a Lamborghini can do this, and is one of the more exciting experiences that you can have. And the same was on the gravel, where you are able to drift like a rally car and to control a beast like is an Urus with 650 horsepower, only playing with the accelerator is an emotion.
The variety of testing venues allows the team to custom design a unique driving mode system that adjusts the engine performance, transmission settings, suspension, and stability control system for different conditions.
If you want to be on the track, you feed a more sporty setup. If you want to go in the sand, is a different balance between the front and rear axle, higher suspension, and so on. Therefore, that means that you have all the choice that you want to experience the driving in all the different conditions.
While the off-road testing might be new, teaching the machine to roar like a bull on the track is a time-honored tradition.
We spent time in Nardò, our most important proving ground in the south of Italy, where we reached the maximum speed of 305 kilometers. We made all development for the acceleration in order to reach 3.6 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. And to give an impression, when we launched the Gallardo, the 0-100 was 4.2 seconds.
The diverse range of locations helps the team tame what they can see. However, what they can't see is equally important.
We speak about a car with 650 horsepower, turbo engine, so you need air. The car is reaching a top speed of 305 kilometers per hour. You have to create surfaces not only for fun, you have to create the surfaces with a function. For example, it's a very important area here, the front chin, the front side of the car is already defining you the airflow. If you do here a wrong angle, the wind is not catching the rear of the car. This is quite challenging, I have to say.
The integrated rear spoilers help add additional downforce to the machine and give it stability at speeds over 300 kilometers an hour.
We designed the car like it is in a super sport car. If you see in the rear of the car, everything is done in a way to steer the air. We have a upper spoiler that is in the rear end of the car.
The different testing locations help engineers tune the Urus. Yet inside the factory, it's the diversity of cutting-edge tech that gets the job done.
This robot is programming in order to deliver the material and pick up the trolley used before from the worker.
The robotic trolleys use a localized form of GPS that pinpoints their spot in the factory using multiple transmitters. While the position is precise, coming up with a nickname is still a work in progress.
Someone already thought of some, and we plan to, because they have to be part of our family.
Just 5 AGVs move 40 carts to the line, including the myriad of computers installed into the machine.
We need to be very careful, so lots of electronic components and many electric control units.
On the line, they use another highly advanced tech system to keep track of assembly.
Manufacturing execution system is our nervous system of the factory. It's the software which is helping our worker to assemble the car. A touchscreen you see on the line is giving information to our workers and is also receiving information from the worker.
The manufacturer execution system allows the team to track every step of the build.
Abbiamo un sistema informativo.
We have a computer system called MES. We log on, And this computer system has all the functionality and the torque specs for the car.
The computer system replaces handwritten sheets that used to show who installed a particular item on the car.
Before, we are dealing with paper. Now we are paperless company, and this is giving us the opportunity to have a direct link from technical department to the production. So one modification done in R&D is immediately translated in the line.
A direct link born from wearable tech. In addition to the advanced touchscreens, workers also use Bluetooth-connected bracelets.
Questo è il braccialetto per collegarsi al sistema MES informatico. In modo che...
This is a bracelet that connects to the MES computer system. This is the way that we record everything we do on the car. All of the security functions, everything is recorded in the system.
On the line, the digital tech monitors the build. However, just a few steps away, a different computer actually teaches it.
We are close to the line, but in a special station in which we train the new colleagues starting working with us. Davide is just joined us and is training himself with a virtual training process.
The digital training process goes through every step of an Urus build.
He has seen the tools that is going to be used, the components, and also the sequence of the activity.
Virtual teaching helps new employees memorize the multiple operations required during each station's 34-minute cycle time.
This is something which for us was key. We need to have our workers in the best condition and to concentrate only to the added value, which is the assemble done by their hands.
Building any type of automobile is a complex activity, but bringing a Lamborghini to life is even harder because every single machine is bespoke.
Everything in the Lamborghini is customized based on the desire of our customer. We produce only when the customer has decided exactly what he wants on his car, because his car is a part of him.
Not only are the vehicles custom, so too are some of the new collaborative robots, which partially automate 3 specific stations on the line.
This is the first application that we did as a collaborative robot. This is the robot doing the gluing of all the glasses of the car.
The robot lays down adhesive far more accurately than a human, but the installation still requires 2 artisans.
Sono tenuti dei passi giganti per quanto riguarda la tecnologia.
There have been giant steps in terms of technology. Meanwhile, without the manual labor of the workers, the technology doesn't make sense, because a collaboration between technology and manual labor is required.
The combination of hand craftsmanship and robotic precision results in a better built SUV and a more ergonomically friendly factory.
We are at the end of the first part of the assembly line. The car is still without all the mechanics. We have some parts inside of the interior, but it's missing the heart of the car.
A 650 horsepower heart that helps rocket the Urus to a 305 kph top speed, claim the title as the world's fastest SUV. The heart of the Emilia-Romagna region of northern Italy is the city of Bologna. Founded in 1000 BCE, the area prospers because it sits at the intersection of 2 critical trade routes that link Milan and Venice to Rome. However, it's the area's agricultural roots that turn it into a hotbed of engineering.
Io sono nata a Bologna e appunto.
I was born in Bologna. That is my home. I think I was very lucky to be born in the Motor Valley.
30 kilometers, there is a lot of companies which are doing beautiful cars. There is a huge competition. Everybody wants to be the best. We want to show that we are the king of Terra dei Motori.
We breathe the engine sound, and we are really proud to transform our dreams as a child in a job.
A dream job connected to the country's passion for speed.
Inside of every Italian driver is a frustrated Formula One driver. They like to go fast. They celebrate speed, and they like to sort of dice it. If you drive a Lamborghini, the best thing you can do is to drive it quickly, because that's what they want to be doing, even though, you know, they're driving some tiny little diesel engine Fiat.
Speed that comes roaring to life in the drivetrain sub-assembly area.
This is the sub-assembly of our powertrain line. The engine, gearbox, transmission, and front and rear axle. This is the core of the car.
Like all previous Lamborghini models, the Urus powertrain is handcrafted. Yet the engine is a bold departure from the past due to modern worldwide emissions legislation.
Unfortunately, the Italians are bound by the same laws as everyone else.
In Europe, CO2 emissions are the most important thing. On standardized tests, a twin-turbo 4-liter V8, which produces V12 levels of power, will pollute less.
For decades, Lamborghini's hallmark is V10 and V12 motors. But the Urus is different. The machine features the marque's first twin-turbo V8 engine.
Part of what makes a Lamborghini exotic is the engine. They have V10s, V12s. What's more important is the amount of power it's going to make, and that's where the Urus comes in. And that's where the Urus is going to be just fine.
One aisle over, craftspeople sub-assemble the suspension.
Monto la sale anteriore, il posteriore.
I assemble the front and rear shock absorbers and brakes. After which, it is taken on the AGV we see here and is joined to the motor, the gas tank, and all that.
The carbon ceramic disc brakes are enormous and powerful.
This is the biggest brake system existing in the world. We have 440 millimeter in the front disc with 10 caliper with 10 pistons. That is huge. If you see, the caliper is big like the wheel. And for this reason, the car can brake from 100 kilometers per hour to 0 in only 33.7 meters. The ratio is valid for a super sport car. What we generate here is much superior, because to be able to brake 2 tons in a space that is less of a super sport car, you can imagine what tremendous energy you must have dissipated and what tremendous force you must be able to apply in order to brake. This means the ratio is completely different in a super sport SUV.
Completed brakes are combined with the suspension components, and then the finished units are moved to the main powertrain line.
This is the core of the machine. It's powertrain of the car, engine, gearbox, transmission, front and rear axle.
Craftspeople drop the V8 onto a jig and add the remainder of the powertrain.
Questo è il cuore. Questo...
This is the heart. Without this part, nothing moves, unless they invent a pedal-powered car.
Then we put the fuel tanks, the exhaust system, and we combine all together to have this big, huge powertrain which has to be inserted in the car.
Once the powertrain is completed, it's robotically moved to the marriage station.
The main pallet comes to the line in order to have the marriage with the body.
Finally, it's time for a partially built-up Urus body to meet its Italian soul.
Here, the mechanical heart of the car. Here, we are assembled the powertrain to the body. It's complicated, for sure.
If you consider the assembly as an orchestra, we have to consider that all our operators are the musicians that should be in perfect harmony in order to do exactly what is necessary.
All engine marriages are delicate, yet this installation is different than anything the brand knows.
Until now, we have produced only super sport car with the rear engine, and the engine was installed in the car from the top. We had to change our mind.
The automated guide vehicles are just the beginning of the high-tech tools. The station also features its own collaborative robot. A pair of robotic screw guns for the craftspeople to use. And the factory's manufacturing execution system.
6 different systems, and they have to work all together in the same time with a lot of interaction. Therefore, it's a sort of ballet, a sort of dancing between all the systems together.
The collaborative robot screws the bottom of the powertrain to the frame, guaranteeing perfect accuracy while also reducing the strain felt by the workforce.
So the physical stress is demanded to the machine, and our people can concentrate on the activity done by hands.
The combination of robotic tech plus humanity is another step beyond a conventional assembly line.
It's the starting point of a huge revolution, which is at the beginning. It's the first step. We think about the second step, but we don't know in which way we land. This is something which is still unexplored.
After fluids, a new Urus receives its high-performance tires, where another robot helps make the installation ergonomically friendly.
The wheels are very heavy. This is the reason why we did the installation of this fantastic robot that helps the operator to assemble the wheels. He is picking up from the container automatically, and he is moving the wheel near the car. And the operator has only to screw the wheel on the car.
Station later, the seats are added. Then they bolt the doors on. All 4 doors. Something that is normal at most car factories, but entirely new for Lamborghini.
I primi giorni che io sono venuto dentro questo stabilimento.
The first day I started here, we had the door panels of the vehicle and we said, okay, 4 panels, we'll make 2 vehicles. No, this makes 1 car. Because now we have 4 doors, so everything is multiplied, the trim, the accessories. Things that Lamborghini never thought was possible before.
After hanging the doors, a new Urus is nearly ready to hit the road.
These are a couple of stations in parallel in which we do the final check, so the car is almost completed. As Ferruccio said, the next tester will be the customer, so make sure that it will be satisfied, really satisfied.
The details left to review might be minor, but but the pride that's felt is enormous.
La parte migliore del mio lavoro è vedere queste.
The best part of my job is to see these cars come to life, starting from the shell of the body, eventually seeing the roar of the engine, which is something exceptional. For me, building a Lamborghini is a dream. I've dreamed of working for this company ever since I was a kid.
We are working really hard. Without passion, this will not be possible.
The pride and motivation are clear. Now, the only question that remains is how the machine will be received.
I wonder what took them so long. I mean, they had the SUV 30 years ago. They've clearly seen what SUV sales are doing now. Why not build an SUV? I mean, what took you so long, Lamborghini?
I think Ferrari's really worried and saying, well, we said we were never going to build an SUV, and all of a sudden you've seen their rhetoric change. Ferrari's now saying, well, we're going to look at the Ferrari way of making an SUV. I think Ferrari is looking at the buzz around Urus.
The Lamborghini Urus, the most unlikely machine ever built by the House of the Raging Bull. A potential forerunner to an entirely new way to manufacture vehicles. And a 650 horsepower, 4 seats category creating super SUV.
When the first car came off the line, I thought, I was here for this particular moment for Lamborghini. And I will be able to tell my children and maybe even my grandchildren that I was there. It's something indescribable that will be a part of history.
We know that this will be remembered in some years as one of the turnaround points of our company. So we are believing that this will be really something unique. It's a super sport SUV, something which is not existing in Italy, in the world.